Hello, circuit riders and friends of Mosaic. I'm Pastor Kelly, and this is the Front Pew, where we look at the history behind church traditions, deconstruct them, and reimagine them for our church, Mosaic, a church focused on healing the harm the church has done. Today, we are looking at hymnals. Where did they come from? Why do we use them? How do we use them? Let's find out. The very first printed hymnal, I almost said human, hymnal that we know of comes in 1501 from the Czech Brethren. This is a radical group of religious people, Bohemians, out of Prague. Then we see in 1564 the Amish come out with the Osbon, which is still used today. So it makes it the largest circulating, still in use hymnal. We had lots of hymnals over the history of the Methodist Church, but in 1988, our General Conference came together to authorize our United Methodist Hymnal, the one we use today. This was a massive effort, but by a group of people worldwide. It is multicultural, multi-ethnic. It has prayers and songs and responses from people from all kinds of cultures, from our indigenous friends, from our Latino friends, our friends throughout Africa, our friends in Russia. This was a big effort, and we are so proud of it. Although it is the only authorized version, we're not required to use it, and we are allowed to use other kinds of music as well. But we love our Methodist hymnal. How do you use it? Well, for us, the hymnal has everything you need to worship. It starts off in the beginning, and if you come and visit, you can grab one off the shelf. It starts in the beginning with things like communion services, membership services, baptism services, sacraments and special occasions. And it has all of the words that we say and do to make these services happen. In the light print, you'll see the words the pastor or the liturgist or whoever speaking from the front says. The stuff in bold is what the community behind me would repeat. And the stuff in red just explains some things. It also has all of the songs, well, a lot of songs that come up from across genres. We have our hymns that Charles Wesley, one of the founders of the Methodist Church, wrote. We have folk songs, spirituals. There is all kinds of music in here. There also are things called call and response. That is where the pastor or liturgist or someone up front says something and the audience responds. We also have some amazing prayers. It all can be found in the back index. There's an index of topics, an index of authors, an index of the first lines and the titles. So all of it is very easy to use. But how does Mosaic use this hymnal? First of all, we don't have them in our pews. Instead of hymnals, we have replaced them with children's books because we only use the hymnals during certain services and certain times of the year. So we thought using the space in the pews was better to share information, books, things for kids and adults to learn from. We do have our hymnals on a shelf, and on Sundays that we use them, we have them at the ends of the rows, and we remind people to pick one up if they are sitting on the floor, on a blanket, or on a seat, because we have all kinds of seating here at Mosaic. In our hymnals, as we spent 9 months deconstructing some of the harm the church had caused many in our community, this was a biggie. There are lots of things that we say in the tradition of the United Methodist Church and traditions across churches that can be harmful, can be triggering, and can make people not want to participate in the life of the church. So we see this as a workbook for how we do church. And as a workbook, we write in it. During services and during meetings, we have looked at some of the main things we use in the Methodist Church, like our baptism ceremony, our communion, some of the call and responses, the creeds and prayers, and reimagine them. We've changed language to be gender neutral. We have removed some of the harmful words that have been used against various communities. But we've also taken things like our creeds, our prayers, our ceremonial services, and rewrote them so that we understand what we are saying and what we are doing. We understand the theology we believe in and can say the words not only with dignity, but with power. So when you come to Mosaic, you will find in our hymnals, there are notes in places where people have made a remark that they want to share later or made a remark while we were talking about it in the service. There are pages that are added to our hymnal. Some of them are pasted right over the specific ceremony with the words that we voted on as a church. There are a lot of things that I didn't even realize that we say during things like communion that are so special that can be so harmful. Unfortunately, a lot of our traditions of our church have been used to ostracize and kick people out. And in the Methodist Church, we have an open table. That means anyone who wants to share the grace of God can come to the table. So we want to make sure the language and the hymnals that we use reflects that. Our church traditions are beautiful. There are some amazing parts of it, but some of the music we sing not only is harmful when we hear it, but when it's repeated over and over, it puts ideologies in our mind that aren't theologically sound and that aren't filled with grace and love. As a little kid, I used to sing all kinds of songs in church that I thought were how God wanted me to be, that were the way that God loved me. And I've learned since then, they're not. We find that some traditional hymns and some contemporary Christian music really does harm and remove people from God's grace. So even with the music we use, we have Kendra, who is our volunteer music coordinator, our music team, along with the people in the pews, look at the songs that we're singing as a community and think about what the message is, how theologically sound they are, and how it represents us as Christians. One of the things that I used to sing as a kid all the time was that I'm in the Lord's army. That doesn't fit with what we believe. An army is a force that goes over and overpowers people. We want to build a community that brings people together. So although there are lots of amazing songs, even in our hymnal today, a lot of them we remove verses, we change especially gendered language, and we avoid the ones that take people who are in marginalized or oppressed communities and make them feel less than. It's amazing how many of the hymns we sing in church have ableism embedded into it. The idea of teaching the blind to see may sound like a beautiful miracle, and it's something that Jesus did. But in the hymn, we're trying to say it's teaching us how to love. And if we are using the disability of our blind siblings, it's not something we want to do. It is very hard. It's an arduous task, but we're not doing it all at one time. We have done this over 3 years and we're still doing it. We are still, every time we look at a part of the hymnal we're going to use, we discuss it before it comes before our congregation. And we use our community voices, not just mine, not just a music lead, but our community voices to decide if it's appropriate, if we need to change anything. And then it becomes our rallying cry, the thing that brings us together as a community to go out and do the work of spreading love and grace. Thank you for watching. If you could like and subscribe, it would help us a lot continue to spread the work that Mosaic's doing. And here's a question. What is one of your favorite hymns that you sing now or you sang as a child? And what is one you never want to sing again? See you next time in the front pew.